Hi guys, I just wanted to walk you through your assignment for Monday, March 23rd. You will be working on 5-5 multi-step equations and inequalities. This is a multiple choice assignment. You may use a scrap sheet of paper to show your work off to the side or work through the problems. This is going to be multi-step equations and inequalities. As a whole, this assignment is going to be broken up into two parts. This first part is mostly equations. You'll notice there are no greater than, less than, or greater than and equal to, less than and equal to symbols. These will all be multi-step equations. We will go over some of these as we meet in our live session on Monday at 2:30, our regularly scheduled class time. Want to have you keep in mind that when you're working through these problems, you want to think of opposite operation. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today is, for example, in this first problem, number 1, the distributive property. You see the 4 is on the outside of parentheses j minus 7. I would love for you to write out the entire equation, 4 parentheses j minus 7 equals 12. But then when we talk about the distributive property, we remember that the 4 is going to affect the j and the 7 before we can go any further in our step. So if I was going to rewrite this out, I would rewrite it as 4j minus 28, because the 4 multiplied itself by the j and the 4 multiplied itself by the 7. So the new equation looked like 4j minus 28 equals 12. Why I'm showing you this step or hint is because I want to make sure that we remember our tools with distributive property before we move further in the problem to solve. Then you have choices of answers here, j equals 8, j equals 10, j equals 12. After you work out the problem on your scrap sheet of paper, select one of those answers. And we'll move to the next problem, which is number 2. Number 2 reads 5 parentheses 2k plus 10 equals 40. Again, we're thinking of the distributive property. 5 is going to affect the 2k. 5 is going to affect the 10, and then equals 40 is just going to carry down. So if you were to rewrite this equation using the distributive property, it would look something like 10k plus 50 equals 40. And remember how we got to that is because the 5 times the 2k would become 10k. And the 5 times the 10 would become 50. But then you can't forget to bring down your equals 40 and rewrite the whole equation. Hopefully this is making sense to you that you have to do a step of the distributive property before you go further into simplifying and getting the variable by itself. Let's keep going here. Ooh, this one looks very complicated, right? On number 3, you not only have to remember to do your distributive property, but then you also have to think of PEMDAS and remember to do your order of operations. This is going to be interesting because both sides of your equation have a p variable, so you're also going to have knowledge of combining like terms. Remember, if you have questions about any of these, please just write down the number that you have a question about, and during our live session at 2:30 on Monday, we will go over any of the problems that are a question for you or difficult for you. On this one it says 7 times 2p plus 3 minus 8 equals 6p plus 29. To get you started, you want to go ahead and do the distributive property for the first part of this problem right here. You're going to take the 7 times the 2p, and you're going to take the 7 times the 3. And that's going to give you 14p plus 21 minus 8 equals 6p plus 29. Now, you could definitely go ahead after you solve that, and you could combine the plus 3 and the minus 8. I'm sorry, that's not right. You could combine the plus 21 and the minus 8 to simplify that even further and have 14p, and let's see here, and a positive, would it be 13? And then you would still have your equals 6p plus 29 on this side. So you would need to figure out what you're going to do with a 16p, a positive 6p, and a positive 14p. So you would want to decide if you want to do minus 6p, which is probably what I would do, or if you would want to do a minus 14p, which I like to work with the smaller number from the bigger number. So I would do minus 6p on both sides, and I would minus the 6p from your 14p. All of this will make a lot more sense when you actually write the problem out and simplify to get one of your answers. Okay, the only other thing I really want to show you, because like I said, we can go over these later. There are some decimal problems that you're going to have your calculator handy for. So you're going to want to have your calculator handy or use the calculator on your computer device. And then the other thing I want to show you is anytime, like on number 9, where it has like a 5/10, that is actually a fraction. So in the Google form, it was difficult to write out the fraction the way that it looks if we were looking at a textbook. But 5/10 stands for 5/10. So this problem would be a minus 5/10 equals 2a minus 3/5. These 3/5 and the 5/10, those are fractions. So if you want to rewrite out the problem, you would write it as a fraction. A minus 5/10 or 5/10 equals 2a minus 3/5 or 3/5. Again, I hope this helped you kind of see an overview of your assignment. After you choose the best answer for each problem and working out your work on a scrap sheet of paper, you will click submit, and we will go over any questions you have at our live session at 2:30 on Monday. Thanks so much.